I'm Stacy Holmes, and this is Glordinary, a few moments where we celebrate God's glory and champion the ordinary. I'm glad you're here. This week is Valentine's Day. Well, depending on when you're listening. And let me tell you, I am not into it. I've never liked teddy bears, glittery hearts, and diapered angel/archers. Nope, not my thing. I am, however, totally pro-love, pro-marriage, pro-chocolate, and pro-Jonathan Holmes. I mentioned the chocolate, right? I mean, we did get married on Chocolate Avenue. Rewind 20 plus years ago to one cold winter's evening. John and I were dating, engaged actually, when he dropped me off one night. And as we sat in the driveway, talking before we parted ways, I became quiet. I let out a soft sigh, and he looked at me and said, "I know." "What?" I asked. "What do you know?" He said, "I know you're feeling ... And he went on to completely describe in vivid detail everything I was feeling and thinking without ever verbalizing. I sat in that driveway and I thought, you know my sighing? How do you possibly know what's behind one little sigh? I was in awe that this man could know my heart so well, even pegging my inner thoughts too. I shouldn't have been surprised. He had told me early on his goal was to get his PhD in Stacy. No small feat. I don't think I have my PhD in Stacy. But that cold, snowy night in 2002 reminded me of something, or rather someone. Another who knows what's behind each and every little sigh. Psalm 5, 1 and 2 says, "Give ear to my words, O Lord, consider my sighing. Listen to my cry for help, my King and my God, for to you I pray." It was a familiar verse to me. I remembered reading it as a teenager, and I had always particularly liked the phrasing, "consider my sighing." I've been a word nerd a long time. Yet the other morning, as I was thinking about Valentine's Day and my disdain for all things Cupid, that phrase came back to me. Consider my sighing. I started doing a little digging into the original language of that phrase, and I quickly realized this God, this one who considers my sighing, considers me big enough to notice the smallest details of my life, down to my very size, and that's SIGHS. I was going to just zero in on that phrase, consider my sighing, but as I studied this, it just opened up to so much more. Look at Psalm 5, 1 and 2 again. "Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my sighing. Listen to my cry for help." When you're feeling small, unnoticed, and insignificant, there is one who gives ear to your words. It sounds fancy and kind of medieval all at the same time. "Give ear to my words, O King." Wow, that was like the worst medieval accent probably in the history of all time. I don't even know that it qualifies as an accent. But in the Hebrew language, it actually means to broaden out the ear, to stretch it out, to hear more clearly. Or as one scholar paints it, to quote, cup the ear to hear something said. It reminds me when I was a child. Okay, here's something, well, just listen. As a kid, I may have, and most definitely did, love me some WWF wrestling. Back then, it was called WWF. Today, it's WWE. No, I do not watch it anymore. But along with some of my favorites, like Macho Man, Randy Savage, Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Andre the Giant, there was the ultimate Hulk Hogan. Now, Hulk's signature move was to cup his hand behind his ear to hear the roar of the audience and to turn that arena volume up even louder. And now that you've lost all respect for me, just know that Psalm 5:1, "Give ear to my words," takes 9-year-old Stacy back to her Saturday morning core memories. Give ear to my words, Lord. Cup your ear, God, to hear my words. Give ear to my everyday thoughts, my regular day in, day out life. Broaden and stretch out your ear like Hulk Hogan, or fine, Mr. Potato Head's ears, if you can get behind that better. Cup your ear and give ear to my words, it says. Oh, but don't just hear my regular everyday thoughts, Lord. Consider my sighing. Now, when a sigh escapes our lips, it can hold the weight of the world within that breath. There can be dragon fire thoughts bubbling out from exasperated sighs. Or a sigh can fill a room with the hopes and dreams of starry-eyed Valentine's Day love. Because sighs are like that. They're the escape valve for anger, pleasure, stress. Yet there is one who knows the nuanced differences between every contented sigh and every growling sigh. The Hebrew word for consider means to separate, to distinguish between my silent thoughts of anger, joy, stress, and worry. Who is this one who can even consider my sighing? This one who separates out the weight of the world resting within each individual sigh, distinguishes between each silent thought, silent intention, silent escape. Give ear to my words, consider my sighing, and listen to my cry, it says. The Hebrew for listen here means to prick up the ears. It's the same picture as when your dog cocks his head and pricks up his ears. Want to go on a car ride? To the park? To get a treat? And go for a walk? Before you get a bath? Okay, not the bath part. But those are buzzwords for Rollo, and I'm guessing your dog too. His head cocks and his ears prick up. Who is this one whose ears prick up at the cry of our hearts? And yes, cry in the Hebrew means just that, the deep, loud, thundering cry for help. Prick up your ears to my cry for help. It catches my notice that we see this spectrum, a continuum of our communication, the one who hears my words, my sighs, my cries, my normal banter, those silent thoughts escaping as sighs, and my shouts for help. Who is this God? The one who hears what I'm saying, yet hears what I'm not saying too. The silent words lodged deep within my soul. Don't you see, my friend? There is no thought, no word, no cry that he does not cup his ear to hear, to distinguish your voice from everything else, and prick up his ears to attend to you and to me. A God so big to care for the so small. Yes, but Stacy, what about what about that one time, and what about, oh, I hear you, friend. And for all those times it feels like he didn't and doesn't hear, grab your coffee for next week. We'll chat about when God doesn't show up in a big way. Where you at, God? Oh yeah, we'll ask some of those hard questions when it seems like he didn't understand the assignment. But until then, wherever life is landing you today on that Psalm 5 spectrum, whether it's a cry for help, silently seething anger, love-struck sighs, or just one foot in front of the other everyday exhausting life, wherever you find yourself today, know that a very good God does see you, and a very good God does hear you too, even when you don't even realize it. Give ear to my words, consider my sighing, listen to my cry, O Lord. Remember, you're not alone in this. I'm praying for you, friend. Have a glordinary day.